Ferrari is known for being quite selective when it comes to choosing its customers for its line of cars and quick to issue out lawsuits. And it goes beyond simply having money and/or fame. One man famous for having multiple Ferraris and a sponsorship deal by them on the table went directly at them. Lupe Fiasco made a video talking about his experience with Ferrari and how its customers end up spending a lot of money, but it's all allegedly not for much.
Ferraris are garbage. They're garbage. This is from a guy who had a Ferrari deal on the table until I called Obama a terrorist. Then I lost all that shit. But this shit is garbage. How do I know? Because I had 4 of them. I'm obsessed with the shits. I still want an F40. And I know that shit is trash.
What made someone who was once an avid fan speak against Ferrari? And it apparently all boils down to how Ferrari treats its customers, from exclusive owner lists and strict rules to suing its loyal supporters and even customers for the tiniest infractions, including millionaires, musicians, and even charities. It's an open secret among car owners and enthusiasts that Ferrari has a reputation for being unnecessarily harsh towards customers. Let's backtrack a bit to the brand's early beginnings, as this will help us properly understand why and how the brand is the way it is today. Ferrari is an Italian luxury sports vehicle manufacturer that was established by Enzo Ferrari in 1939 from the Alfa Romeo racing division. Enzo did not care about making cars, he just cared about racing and funding his racing team. And when he found out that he could fund his racing dreams through selling poorly made cars to rich people who wanted the image of luxury, he was all in. According to sources, Enzo Ferrari alone is responsible for the animosity between the brand and its customers. Apparently, Enzo would categorize his customers into 3 groups: the gentle sportsman, who believes he can handle a car like a racing driver; the 50-year-olds who are making a dream come true and trying to snatch back a little of their youth; and the exhibitionist, who acquires a Ferrari just to show off. The passion, needs, and wants of his client were allegedly of very little concern to no concern to Enzo, and it was very clear that Enzo, who later became a manufacturer, was ruthlessly ambitious and just focused on the goal of racing. The company broke through by producing its first automobile in 1940, but the first vehicle with the distinguished Ferrari badge came later in 1947. Enzo had the idea to found a club of Scuderia in 1932 to allow both amateur and professional drivers the opportunity to compete. The Scuderia turned out to be a wildly successful and lucrative endeavor, and this was the foundation of Ferrari. The first car Enzo made was, in fact, not under the Ferrari name, but the 815 Auto Avio hit the streets for a road test. The 2 815s competing in that race, piloted by Lotario Machiavelli and Alberto Ascari respectively, were both fast but fragile, and both had the misfortune of breaking down. The fast but breaking down theme seems to continue until even to today, as many users that have had Ferraris say they're great, but very high maintenance.
The maintenance on Ferraris, that's how they make their money. Nigga, my 575 wouldn't come out of first gear. Had to tow that bitch to the Ferrari dealer. Man, that dude sent me, he was like, look, he's like, oh, it's just a software malfunction. You know, we can reboot it. But he's like, look, if that was actually something wrong with one of the pumps, one of the pressure pumps in the paddle switches, that shit is $50,000. No games. 50 racks to fix this bitch. Just this little paddle shifter transmission, 50,000. I sold the next day. I put the bitch up for sale literally the next day.
Ferraris and other high-performance vehicles are made with extremely precise tolerances and usually require a decent amount of maintenance. That means at least once a year or every 6,000 miles, a Ferrari has to have its oil changed. But by the time you factor in that maintenance that should be performed by a Ferrari dealer or expert, it'll significantly reduce the value of your car. The maintenance costs just add up. Tires, brakes, clutches, and others are quite expensive. Some of these can require replacements every year or twice a year, and that's why the majority of people who can afford the car's sticker price may not be able to keep up the maintenance for long. Regardless of high maintenance costs, owning a Ferrari is not that bad of a store of value. Ferrari owners hardly experience value loss. The most current models have shown they can maintain their value over time, and they're one of the few cars available that are able to do that. And the car's design is really a work of art. However, what use are these qualities when you lack the flexibility of doing as you please with what's supposed to be your property? The ethos of the Ferrari brand is not what Ferrari can do for you as the customer, but what can you do for Ferrari? The purchase process is already a minefield. You have to jump through several hoops to make it to being selected as a customer. Potential owners usually go through a rigorous process that damn near resembles a background check, and the car maker allegedly won't think twice to study a customer's ownership history. So basically, the more Ferrari purchases you've made, the more likely you are to be selected for newer, more elite, or more limited edition cars. Ferrari sells their vehicles to owners who can not only afford them, but also make them the center of attention. This increases their value and makes them even more desirable. They allegedly turn down whoever's purchase they want, even well-known buyers. All it usually takes to own a supercar like a McLaren, for instance, is a good chunk of change. But Ferrari expects far more from its customers, and the play at elitism is very appealing. The small quantity they produce also contributes to the exclusivity of their vehicles. An example being the LaFerrari, of which there are allegedly only 499 in existence. It's obviously a good strategy because everyone wants in on this exclusive group. Almost everyone would love to own a Ferrari, but most people haven't considered the countless rules owners have had to follow, and when they fail to follow those rules. As a Ferrari owner, you're not allowed to sell your car within the first year of purchase. This seems to be an effort to prevent owners from treating their vehicles like tools to be resold, similar to how the sneaker market operates or even ticket sales. You're also not allowed to touch the logo. This means there's a limit to the amount of adjustments one can make. Lastly, Ferrari owners have to accept the brand's right to buy back their cars. The special contract that they make purchasers sign has a lot of fine print that most fans of Ferrari haven't read, but they state all of these rules, and Ferrari does not hesitate to enforce them. When it comes to letting attorneys loose, they don't hold back either. This means that many customers have been sued, including a website that offered wiring diagrams for vintage Ferrari models, social media influencers who enjoyed making memes, and fashion designers who used a Ferrari in a commercial image. Image is crucial in the high-end exotic car industry, but Ferrari takes protecting its image to the extreme. Earlier, we mentioned Ferrari hates when customers modify their vehicles. Billionaire race car racer Jean Blatten learned this the hard way when he acquired an F40 that had been retired from competition. He changed it by removing the canopy, installing a tubular steel cage, changing the suspension to include pushrod coilovers, and reducing the exhaust system to exit in front of the back wheels. Ferrari was not happy with this. They claim that significant changes essentially mean that the car is no longer a Ferrari product. Blatten received a cease and desist letter directing him to remove all Ferrari emblems and insignia. Another case would be German fashion designer PHILIPP PLEIN. He began his fashion career by selling military jackets covered in Swarovski skulls, and today he has retail locations in the world's biggest cities. He's also worked with many celebrities, and when Plein posted images of his products from his label displayed on his Ferrari 812 Superfast with the Ferrari logo on IG, the company noticed. He broke their rules by using Ferraris in pictures that might easily be mistaken for advertisements, including one of the women that were surrounded. Of course, Ferrari went in claiming that Plein was using the brand's trademark with a lifestyle totally inconsistent with its brand's perception, and that this behavior tarnished the reputation of Ferrari's brands and caused Ferrari material damage. Plein refused to get rid of the pictures, so he was ordered to pay $1.3 million in damages and $28,300 in legal costs when Ferrari filed a lawsuit and won. Next, we have DJ and electronic music producer Joel Zimmerman, best known by his stage name deadmau5. He decided to enjoy himself with his Ferrari 458 Italia and went all out with a theme based on the well-known Nyan Cat internet meme. It had a personalized wrap as well as badges, floor mats, and license plates. The change from Ferrari to Ferrari on the new badges was the portion that seemed to overly offend Ferrari, and when their legal team intervened, deadmau5 was compelled to remove the car's unique wrap and badging. And remember when we mentioned that Ferrari claims to reserve the right to admit all owners? Ferrari allegedly has a blacklist of people who aren't allowed to own Ferraris, and some of the biggest celebrities made their way onto that list. Justin Bieber, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Chris Harris, and Kim Kardashian, to name a few. However, Ferrari claims there is no blacklist that prevents anyone from purchasing their vehicles, but it seems that wasn't the case for Bieber, who ended up being banned from being an owner. Understandable, seeing as Justin Bieber broke not one, but two of their rules. Not only did Justin Bieber change the color of his car, but he also put it up for auction. Following this, Ferrari blocked Justin Bieber from making any other purchases. Some say this is the worst approach to providing excellent customer service, to the extent that Ferrari is unwilling to acknowledge their own technical shortcomings in favor of letting an owner face legal repercussions. But Ferrari's business culture has always been a reflection of its founder's disdain for his clients. Even after he passed away, the brand still operates in this manner. The business allegedly only chooses its clients based on what they can accomplish for Ferrari, not what Ferrari can accomplish for them, which is why they seem to treat customers this way. The current CEO of Ferrari, Benedetto Vigna, unlike Enzo, is accountable to shareholders rather than to his ego's unrelenting demands as a private company, being that it's now public. Being that Ferrari is publicly traded, the current CEO can no longer ignore criticisms of out-of-date, defective, unreliable, and unpleasant vehicles by saying, "We build engines and toss the car in for free." So the vehicles post-2016 have been better, but it's also a statement to the brand that despite all of the other car manufacturers' stock prices getting wrecked in the past 3 years, Ferrari has been able to maintain and grow their stock price and still sell out of their vehicles. The governmental shift to imposing alternatives to fossil fuels may bring a lot of changes Ferrari may or may not be ready for. If that happens, they may have more vehicles than customers. By that time, Ferrari might have learned to revere those who uphold its business, instead of the vision of the man who founded the luxury car brand, Enzo Ferrari. But there is something to admire about the story that their brand represents something and is not willing to budge on it. That's the founder's representation, and still getting the massive success that they have decades later, nearly a century later, despite sometimes screwing customers over.